this is Scott Welch of Muscle Insider Magazine. We are here with Jared Wheat, CEO of Hi-Tech Pharmaceuticals. Great to have us here. Thanks for taking time to meet us.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out.
How did you guys get started in building this massive empire?
Well, I started the business in my parents' basement back in 1989, so 28 years ago, while I was going through college to make date money. You know, the GMPs came into effect about 6 or 7 years ago, which is good manufacturing practices. A lot of companies still do not adhere to them. We do. We've been audited 16 times by the FDA, and we passed all 16 times. So much like if you went to a restaurant and they have their score, we got 100 every time. We never even got a 99. So, you know, to my knowledge, I'm the only company in either the supplement or drug world that can say that.
I have never seen as many acquisitions as I've seen from Hi-Tech. Is this part of a growth strategy?
And about 2 years ago, I basically decided that, you know, I needed more help, needed more of a think tank and more helpers to help me see my vision through. So I went on a campaign of finding guys that, a lot of which I made their products already, in which, you know, I went to them and said, you know, what would you think about me buying your brand, you staying on, working for the company, make the same amount you were making before, and then you don't have a lot of the headaches. I build in the efficiencies of not having redundant businesses, which, you know, all the big banks and pharmaceutical companies are doing that. And then I also got a lot of talent, which has helped me the last 2 years in building Hi-Tech to be a larger player in our industry.
At the Olympia, I predicted that Hi-Tech Pharmaceuticals would be probably within the top 5 in the industry in the next 5 years, and being compared to some of the great, huge Goliaths of years past. What is the vision that you see for Hi-Tech?
I think, you know, with having 10 brands and with our growth and being able to go into stores and, you know, really a store get behind our family of brands, knowing they're all made under GMP environments. We test all our products as we're in the lab here that shows, you know, a lot of our analytical equipment. So, you know, I would like to be compared one day to EAS back when they had, you know, were into innovation. They were one of the guys that inspired me to do what I do today, Twin Lab and some of the other great companies. So that would be a goal of ours, is to be in that same category, if you will, to where people refer to us as somebody like those guys.
How did you come up with the idea of the layer of the mesomer?
Well, the first one...
3 different layers in this product, folks.
The first one that we did was a rocket pop, which as a kid, I loved the rocket pop popsicle. When the ice cream man came around, I would get it, and we had the red, white, and blue in the rocket pop. And I was sitting there one day. We've made triple layer tablets, we've made bi-layer tablets, we've made all kind of cool capsules with insignias on them and things of that nature. And I said, you know what we ought to do? We ought to do a clear bottle, which I had not seen in powders. I see them in tablets, which we've done for a long time with products like this, where we could show our pretty tablets, but I had never done it in a powder. So I decided, you know, let's bring out, you know, something and get it to taste like the old rocket pop. Well, once that became a phenomenon, we then went to Tutti Frutti, which tastes a lot like your old fruit stripe gum that you would have had when you were a kid. We're now bringing out a green apple, like a Jolly Rancher. We're bringing out snow cones. We're bringing out a lot of fun flavors that is different. And then under Gasperi, we came out with this precision protein, which is Neapolitan. Nobody had ever done this before. We got a chocolate layer, a strawberry layer, and a vanilla layer. And I came up with this idea when Rich and I had first started collaborating on, you know, he was big into proteins, which Hi-Tech had not been as, we were more into the cutting edge sports nutrition. He had a lot more foothold in the proteins and more of your staple items. And so I told Rich I had this idea for Hi-Tech, but let's put it out under the Gasperi brand, because I think, you know, it's known more for a protein brand. So that idea had come to me while we were talking about protein, and I came up with the idea to do the Neapolitan flavor. You know, High-Tech, we work with plants in India, China, Europe, and continue to evolve in finding new plant extracts, new compounds that are dietary supplements. We just worked with Glanbia on a project where we isolated IGF-1 out of milk proteins that's going to be coming out in the next, shortly. I'd say the next 2 months. We're using the same liposomal technology because hormones going through the mouth don't pass through your tract. So by encasing them in the liposomal technology, we're able to do just like we did the DHEA isomers, we're able to do that with IGF-1.
So you can have an IGF-1 oral.
Correct.
Unbelievable. Hi, this is Scott Welch from Muscle Insider Magazine. We're here today at High-Tech Pharmaceuticals with David Bromwich, Vice President of Operations here for High-Tech.
How you doing?
Great. Listen, how important is quality control when it comes to dietary supplements?
It's the only thing. It starts at the top. We have the highest standards. We follow all GMPs. We follow the DSHEA guidelines, which is a set of laws that the Congress put in act in 1994. And it is the one thing that we follow 100%.
Now, when you're getting a high-tech product, what is the consumer getting that they're not getting in other products that may have inferior ingredients and inferior quality control?
Well, we do 90% of our testing in-house, and everything is tested from the start of the process, the raw materials. We test for FDIR to actually making sure that we're buying the correct ingredient. We're also doing a micro test for total aerobic plate count. We're doing pathogens, and we're doing we're looking for yeast and mold. That's at the start of the process. Once the process has been completed, again we do the same micro test, and then we bring on the HPLC test for things like caffeine. Is there the correct amount of caffeine in the product?
So a consumer that uses a product made by High-Tech knows that every dose is going to have what's on the label, which, as you guys know, that isn't the norm when it comes to the supplement industry. And you guys are here to correct that with proper testing process.
We have proper testing processes, and if the test doesn't meet the requirements, then we investigate it with my team here of chemists and find out what the problem was, identify the root cause, and then fix it and continue to make the product up to the specs that we want it to be.
I see a lot of labels that have the word GMP on them. Consumers at home may see this in protein powders and pre-workout powders. What exactly does GMP mean?
GMP stands for Good Manufacturing Practices, and this is where the industry is really being let down by the DSHEA laws. The government, when they set the DSHEA laws up, they put no responsibility on the raw material vendor. So unless you're with a good company that actually, when the raw materials come in, do those micro tests, do those FDIR tests, you really don't know what you're getting.